Hello again, much love and welcome to this astrological overview of the Sidereal month from July 24th to August 23rd, 2025. This month sees a new moon in the stars of constellation Cancer on July 24th and a full moon in the stars of Capricorn on August 9th. The softer stars of Cancer resonate with the nurturing, caring, inwardly sensitive, and protective dimensions of our experience. And they set the stage for the month via the new Cancer moon, while the full Capricorn moon emphasizes a process of refining and tempering Cancerian feelings and development and practice of emotional maturity. The axis of Capricorn Cancer, and so the main force of this lunar cycle, highlights security, both inner, that's emotional security, and outer, that's social or financial security. And how we strike the balance in our lives is a little different for everyone. That's the simplified thrust or pulse of the month. And there's a lot happening in the same time period. So we're going to look over the charts and the transits of the whole month in this video. Late July, early August 2025 could challenge many of us, just as it may delight others. Some of us may even take delight in the challenges presented. But it's Cancer season, friends. Before we get into the astrology of the month, let's check out the basic astronomy. And whenever we come to Cancer season and we have this Cancer new moon, I have to make a note. These boundaries are actually correct. The main form stars of Cancer are this little guy and a star behind the sun. And this error is just something that made its way into the version of Capricorn Prometheus that I'm using. I'm sure it'll be corrected in future versions. But let's move on. This new moon takes place here in Cancer with Mercury also in Cancer. And to look a little forward, we can see Mars in the South Node. Mars is late in Leo and the South Node is early. And that's about all that's going on in that side of the sky. Looking back into Gemini, we see Jupiter. In Taurus, we have Venus and Uranus. And in Pisces, we have Eris and Chiron, Ceres, the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, and the North Node has actually moved into the territory of Aquarius proper, into the proximity of some of the main form stars of Aquarius. And Pluto is the last to make our list. He's moving from Sagittarius into Capricorn. Slowly, slowly, slowly. So let's take a look at this chart. That's what the skies look like. That's why I'm talking about a Cancer new moon. And let's dig a little deeper into the 2D expression. All right, this chart here is the same new moon, July 24th, 2025, and we can see Mercury, Sun and Moon in Cancer, and they're directly opposite to Pluto. That's the first thing that's going on. We have a Cancer new moon, and it's opposite to Pluto. It's trine to Neptune and Saturn, and it's pretty close sextile to Uranus. So we're relating by contact to all the outer planets. Some of the other things I'm going to go over, especially in this chart, are the closeness of Mars and the South Node, and just close aspects in general. This aspects table to the right goes out to 10 degrees in the case of some aspects, and you can see that half of them are within 1.5 degrees. So we have a lot of 0-degree aspects, a lot of close aspects, and that implies intensity, activity, and action. So let's begin to break this down a point at a time. When we're conceptualizing a Cancer new moon, The way these stars have been interpreted as stars of emotional depth and self-awareness and environmental awareness is ancient. It's the sign of the crab to the Greeks, but to the Babylonians of 4000 BC, it was conceptualized as a tortoise, or even in places a snapping turtle. You start to see a theme emerging here. To the ancient Egyptians, it was a scarab beetle, very sacred. Arabs portrayed it as a lobster. And to the Persians, it was just the nose of the lion Leo, much as Coma Berenices was simply the tail of Leo. Leo used to be a massive sprawling constellation in the ancient sky, ancient Persian sky. But mostly this set of stars, Cancer, has been interpreted as a tough exterior which armors over a very sensitive interior, a watery and emotional nature. That's going to highlight things this month in the realm of feelings, in the realm of emotions. And it's going to make things intense because any opposition to Pluto brings intensity. And this formation is likely to symbolize intense emotions. You have power struggles and control, transformation and change, hidden agendas, secrets, and social upheaval. That's what we can expect here. In the realm of Saturn and Neptune and this trine that's made, I think some of the positive affects could be realization of our own ideals. It could be spiritual and creative growth. It could be constructive and inspired change. And the challenges I see are mostly the usual suspects when it comes to Neptune: disillusionment and escapism. We have the Piscean and Neptunian force of the tendency to cloud issues, just not see them quite so clearly, to need disillusionment, to need to overcome an urge to escape. And with the sextile to Neptune, we have a climate of progressive change, opportunities for innovation and breakthrough in science and technology and social structures. Social structures. Generally speaking, we have the energies of the sun and moon so generally connected to consciousness, the direction of evolution and collective consciousness this month, connected to all the outer planets in a formation of very, very serious power. We have a lot of transformation and change here. And here we have a lot of idealism and social structure, social contract. So I would expect all these issues, everything mentioned so far, to be front and center this month in the stage of world events. And the North Node has moved into Aquarius. I think we may have mentioned the South Node in Mars, so we're going to talk about the nodes generally speaking, because the axis has changed into a Leo-Aquarius axis. The North Node into Aquarius, it does highlight a tech focus, very tech focus. It also highlights collective issues, revolutionary ideas, a focus on the greater good. Especially here with South Node in Leo, there's going to be a need to put our own personal ambitions aside. It's a South Node function to generate situations that cause us to lose things that we don't need. So in this instance, that's being described as losing self-interest and self-importance for the greater good, the benefit of humanity as a whole and society at large. So this focus on the greater good that Aquarius implies is often correlated with humanitarian ideals and progressive agendas, but Aquarius relates to these things as an air sign. And that means a little academically, kind of mentally. So freedom makes sense to Aquarius. It's more philosophically sound. It's more logically sensible to the Aquarian mind. And at the same time, Aquarius is very aloof from this feeling dimension and really doesn't give a rat's ass about the people who must necessarily suffer in revolutions or give up their personal stake, for the greater good. The focus of Aquarius on the greater good stands in some stark contrast to the South Node in Leo. So, especially with Mars. So we may be asked this month and in an ongoing process for the near future, like the next year and a half or so, we may be asked to sacrifice or jettison. Again, that's a South Node function. We may be asked to move away from pretense, to move away from personal recognition and self-gratification towards the greater good, toward the greater humanitarian ideal within the bigger picture. And just to say a few more words about South Node of the Moon in Leo with Mars, the South Node fixates. It focuses to the point of obsession. And Mars moves. It acts to the point of compulsion. And the two are a bad influence on each other. So Mars, it plays a very key role in this lunar cycle. And we'll see how the new moon signature of closeness to the South Node is sort of a eclipse for all intents and purposes. We'll see how that plays out. And beyond that, I mentioned there were a lot of close aspects. And you'll see that a lot of these aspects actually involve the sun and moon. The sun and moon themselves are zeroed. That's because it's a new moon and this is an exact alignment. But look what else is very close. Neptune and Saturn trine, both within half a degree. That's a 0 degree relationship. And the Pluto opposition is also to half a degree of closeness. Pluto and Saturn themselves, and Pluto and Neptune, sextile to within 0 degree, and the entire formation is really going to center the development of these new social movements, the transformation of social structure, and the implementation of new forms of order. With that in mind, I don't have a lot else to say. We see that the sun and moon is relating to the outer planets, not to any of the inner planets. And that could make things deep and scary, and scary because it's like an undertow. It feels like something under the surface is really pulling, driving, moving things along. And the conscious process, be whatever it may, just might not even be involved in the greater intentions, the more universal waves of power that are active and in effect this month. So surrender and recognizing where our desires are and where they relate, how they match up with the bigger picture, the sort of imperative wave of these undercurrents. Astrologically speaking, the outer planets are unconscious and subconscious forces. And here we are with the transits, shifting gears. We're going to take a look at the transits. This date, 24th, is the date of the new moon that we just observed. And this date, the 9th, is the date of the full moon. So these are the waxing transits. The waxing transits. The waxing quarter moon will take place on the 1st. And we'll sneak a peek at that chart. So right as the new moon is perfecting, we have a sun trine to Neptune and to Saturn on the 24th. The sun's also opposite to Pluto, perfecting these very close relationships on the 25th July. I said a lot about these in the new moon segment that we just finished. Saturn and Neptune, the trine is feeling the retreat of a global democracy, the influence of democracy globally, quite possibly beginning a longer cycle of authoritarian plutocracy. Pluto here is representing power struggles, intense feelings, and manipulation and control, especially in the opposite position to Sun. And it's a tough formation, and it goes exact very early on the 25th. So right about the time of this new moon, there's going to be a lot of dynamic activity. It might not feel as much like a new moon. It might not feel as low energy, as mellow, as chill. There may be more profound energy stirring at this time. And on the 27th, we see Venus sextile to Eris. This could reflect a need to recognize our blind spots, possible chaos in the relationship realm. And could symbolize for many people an appreciation. Appreciation is Venus's special dance move. And then it could symbolize an appreciation for cycles of revolution. That's an Iridian function. Cycles of revolution. When something has served its purpose, played its part, and has become, to overstay its welcome, cosmically speaking, that overripe fruit will fall from the tree and seed other fruit, seed other trees. It's always a messy process, and Eris is one of the governesses of this process. The process of breaking down the old to fertilize the new. The beginning is near, friends. The beginning is near. Also on the 27th, we have technically on like the midnight on the 26th, we have Saturn and Uranus going into 0 degree for their sextile. And this is worth spending some time with. On the 27th, we'll see that Saturn Uranus has come into 0 degree, and they're in a sextile relationship, which is going to be in effect. I think I have a graph of this, and what we're seeing here going into orb July 26th, it'll be in orb until August 26th, exact on August 11th, and it's the second contact of 3. So it's important to understand this cycle. This is a cycle of renovation. It's a cycle of renovation in the sense that Saturn represents structures, Uranus represents change. It changes the structures, it changes habits, patterns, the way things have always been done, or that template is Saturn. And when we involve Uranus, the template changes. So this July and August is going to be peak of that process. Peak of that process. And then we have a little break, couple of days without a major event until around the time of the waxing quarter moon on the 1st. It's a pretty convoluted waxing moon, and we have Mercury combust on the 31st. So really not the best time for clear communication, not the best time to expect people to be able to listen, not the best time to try and organize your thoughts or do anything terribly important in that realm, but not the very worst either. It just takes more energy to organize our mercurial efforts and logic and rhetoric when things are combust. Venus, likewise, on the 1st of August for the waxing quarter moon, will square to the Saturn-Neptune formation. And this could just make things really hard to appreciate. The change symbolized by Saturn-Neptune. So this lack of appreciability could be really highlighted for the waxing quarter moon. And with that said, I just want to take a look at the waxing quarter moon. here's the chart, and the main formation we start to see is that Mars, who I said would play a major role this month, has moved into formation with Uranus and Pluto. We're going to talk a lot about that. So with this chart, I just want to put it up on the screen so people can, study it if it's important to you. Take a pause, take it in, and we'll get back to the transits. So after we come back on the 1st from the waxing quarter moon, we have another break. We have another period of 4 or 5 days in which nothing major is going on. Uranus and Neptune do enter 0 degree of relationship peak activity cycle on the 2nd. And again, I have the Uranus sextile to Neptune. This is just starting. So August 2nd, this starts and it takes off and will remain in some form or fashion of effect until 2028. So see you in 3 years. Uranus sextile Neptune. And it's interesting. It's interesting because in summer of 2007, this ends, and actually August 2nd, the same date in 2025 that it enters 0 degrees, August 2nd, 2027 is going to be actually a major event, a major solar eclipse that goes exact right over Giza, what used to be Thebes in Egypt. I forget what it's called now, Luxor. And this event is going to reset the whole world power grid. Not the electric power grid that's powering your internet experience right now, but the grid that's centered in Giza, Egypt, and spreads through Stonehenge and all the sacred sites, the geodetic meridians of the earth, and all of the sacred structures and monuments and mysteries that have been built on power spots. It's going to charge and reset that. So I find there's a very interesting resonance. If you followed all that, August 2nd, 2025, period of time which starts, Uranus is just weird change. We have weird change coming. We're going to change for the weirder, fam, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. This change for the weirder is highly, highly resonant. It's a major eclipse 2 years from now. Just 3 days. No, a month and 3 days after the major contact. I think that's neat. It's a little bit seeming like it could be coincidental, but I don't believe at all in coincidences. All right, so we have all these transits. We have this Uranus transits perfecting. So Uranus is going to be in 0 degree relationship with Neptune and Saturn, starting early August. And then for the full moon on the 9th, we really have a lot of more intense formations too. We have a lot of Mars activity where Mars is trine to Uranus and Pluto. So this grand trine that I illustrated for the waxing quarter moon, Mars, Uranus, Pluto grand trine, is going to basically perfect for the full moon. That's pretty diabolical. While the sun trines Sirius. So we really could have and at the same time Mars opposes Saturn and Neptune. And the easiest way to talk about this is actually going to be to break out the full moon chart. So let me just pull this up onto the screen. And here's what I'm talking about. We have a very close Mars Pluto-Uranus grand trine. And yeah. So we also, before we get into this, we have a sun in Leo and a moon in Capricorn. Now that's going to be important. We'll spend some time with those energies. We do have this grand trine. It's also a kite. This is one of the most powerful formations in astrology. Technically a double kite because Mercury's here opposing Pluto. We'll talk about that too. We'll talk about Jupiter and Venus together on Sirius, fixed star Sirius, the Scorcher. And we'll talk about close aspects because look at all these 0-degree aspects. We have, just within 3 degrees, we're talking most of the major activity on the chart for this full moon is close, it's powerful, it's precise. So let's break it down, fam. Sun sits in early Leo for this full moon. And with the sun on the Cancer cusp, there's a lot of creativity, a lot of beauty and radiance here. So a lot of lessons about individuality, a lot of lessons about self-importance. With a moon in late Capricorn, there's an emphasis on mastery, responsibility, and seriousness here. Kind of lessons regarding society and self-control is what this sets up. Lessons involving how to use our personal charisma and organize it to profit, to find security. I don't want to overanalyze the sun-moon dynamic. I'll call everyone's attention to the video series I made with Cosmic Wizard podcast on all the oppositions, and I encourage you to look at the Capricorn Cancer video, because I do cover this dynamic here where early Leo and late Capricorn oppose, and we have a natural axis in the heavens, this sort of true sky axis of Leo and Capricorn. So I'll put a pin in that and we'll move on. We have a kite. Mars sits at the foot and Saturn, Neptune. Oh, this brutal change process sits at the head. This is... Oh, that's a lot. Yeah. What can we say about that? We have the energies of the unexpected, the eccentric, the powerful, the transforming, and society's vision, the greater structure of society. And we have them all impacting Mars, the force of Martian and martial energy, the force that correlates with aggression and warfare. And this symbolizes new kinds of warfare. And I mean, we're no stranger to like what they call 5th generation warfare. Although I take that back. Some of us are really strange to 5th generation warfare. But when they talk about the evolution of warfare, they talk about like early generation warfare. You know, guys would like dress in red and blue and take their rifles out and just line up in the field, and just whoever shot the other person, whoever defeated the other unit was just considered the winner. You just stand there and shoot at each other, and whoever was left got to put their flag in the ground and make the rules. But today warfare is a lot sneakier, and we have like a hidden deceptive kind of warfare, like an emphasis on influencing public opinion, right? On an emphasis on undermining the adversary's will to fight, right? Through information warfare, right? Psychological operations and the spread of disinformation, propaganda, cyber actions, social engineering, creating and exploiting weaknesses in social structures. And we've seen this for a long time. We've seen this, we've seen this for about a decade now, where I mean, countless. I can't even get into the details because it would detract from this video. It's not really relevant. Look up fifth generation warfare if you're interested. And then we have Mercury here in Cancer, really near and resonant with the same degree of the new moon, and also opposite to Pluto here in Capricorn. And this Mercury opposite Pluto is going to emphasize division and polarized struggles for power. Pluto, since we've talked so much about him in this early Capricorn position, as a harbinger of social transformation, he symbolizes early lessons around society and self-control. And by early lessons, I mean he's in early Capricorn. And this is very goaty stars. In this set of stars, the energies of the goat, the rambunctious, the testing, the kind of petulant goat energy that we see here in early Capricorn, really different from the fish energy of later Capricorn. Capricorn symbolizes a process of transformation in and of itself, and Pluto is a planet of transformation. And Pluto in this early Capricorn position symbolizes the early lessons, like the lessons in the learning curve lessons of an early stage, like it's not mature, it's not seasoned in its Capricornian expression. So when it comes to Capricornian themes like structure, society, all these social welfare issues, Pluto here can really stumble. It has early lessons to learn. And these lessons are about self-control and society. And I guess I'd say the danger of early Cap, right, the goat, is that it's a little out of control, so it seeks to control others instead of looking inward and controlling itself. All right, I said we'd mention Jupiter, Venus. They're on Sirius. This is interesting. From first glance, Jupiter and Venus on Sirius looks like it could be really auspicious, really good, really powerful blessing. And that may be the case. I can't say that won't be the case. It'll definitely be the case for some people. But Venus and Jupiter, when they get together, they create a little bit of laziness. We're set up to maybe receive a blessing in disguise, because this really looks like war. It looks like a lot of potential for increased war, both open, honest battlefield combat and the hidden, deceptive 5G combat. This kind of new kind of war for control of the social sphere, not the combat field per se. Or you could think about it that society, just everyday life on the street and in your home, has become the field of engagement in 5G warfare. I'm not trying to scare anyone or get paranoid, but that is literally that is where those are the sites of attack from the agents who are employing these new forms of warfare. They're not interested in killing soldiers, shooting from the front. They're interested in subverting whole societies and turning people against each other, creating narratives and situations which help them forget who their real and collective enemy is, and turning them against each other. That's an example of 5G warfare that implements the Machiavellian technique that predates these generational distinctions: divide and conquer. So yeah, I digress. That's a lot about nothing. I think this full moon, it sets up a stupendous wave of power, and that can be ridden to personal change and transformation, right? We can take action and achieve our most vivid dreams, bring them down to earth, take action and change and transform. That's in the realm of personal approach to all this. Not the collective approach, not the mundane and world politics approach, but on an individual level, many of us will find very creative ways of riding this wave. Inner metamorphosis is on everyone's bingo card this month. Whatever happens is going to change a lot of people, change how they feel. I'm afraid to say that this could be a real before and after month in world history, so keep your eyes on the world stage for acts of aggression and reactions to aggression. Even with a constant newsreel of war, the kind of energy generated by this alignment could correspond with very standout events. So we're looking at the transits between the 9th of August, that's the full moon, and the 23rd of August 2025. That's going to be the next new moon. On the way, we'll check out the waning quarter. And here we go, looking at the waning transits. So the 9th, just following the full moon, sees Mars oppose Neptune precisely. And the 10th sees Mars trying to Pluto exact precisely. The 11th sees that Saturn-Uranus contact, the peak of renovation at scale, renovating the systems of society, restructuring. So, yeah, looks like it could be violently or forcefully. Looks like it could be done aggressively with a lot of Martian activity in here. Hard to say, but I'd be remiss to ignore. I'd be a bad astrologer if I didn't acknowledge that Mars in mundane astrology rules war. This period, the 9th through the 11th, could correspond with vivid and powerful actions. We'll have at the same time on the 11th 2 planets stationing. That's Ceres and Mercury. Mercury stationing direct, Ceres stationing retrograde. And we'll also have the exact conjunction of Jupiter and Venus on Sirius. Now that may seem like a good thing. We're gonna talk about that a lot. That's a really big conjunction. It is gonna bless this renovation, but it's also in the star Sirius. Venus and Jupiter together on Sirius has a lazy, indulgent, and hedonistic streak. Venus and Jupiter together and on any star in anywhere in the sky has a lazy, indulgent, and hedonistic streak. It's also going to give blessings and major abundance. It's going to really hand it out. Not to everybody. It's going to depend on how the angles relate to any given project or person, country, whatever. But this is blessing and abundance. It's also very pleasure oriented, to the point of view of laziness and hedonism. So this is square Ceres too. If you remember, this is just square to Ceres. We looked at that in the waxing transits, and that could give us very strange feelings about humanity, right? It doesn't really matter at all whether people operate out of light or darkness. This isn't about that. From the penthouses of socialites to like the impossible lives of the penniless, this affects everybody, male, female. Things are so polarized right now, all centered on United States politics, reflective of the Pluto return 2024. No matter who you are, it seems like the other side, the other half, is totally fucking insane. And it seems like that to everybody right now. And this square to Eris and Ceres exacerbates that effect. So if I'm correct, it could be part of this wave of Mars trine Pluto that peaks on the 10th. Mars trine Pluto on the 10th. So these like vividly powerful actions I was talking about, all this activity, 9th, 10th, 11th, they're going to have everyone wondering how the other side could be so very wrong, so sick or evil or deluded or whatever. I don't know. I don't know what to say on that. We're all part of something incomprehensible called humanity. And that humanity is a real beast. It is a genuine animal. And on top of that, it's only paradox within paradox. So don't get divided. That's Pluto's major action, to divide. When Pluto and Mars get together, there's division and conquering. So just remember the overriding wholeness in the situation is the best way to navigate this intense time wave, which goes into, let's see, via Mercury sextile to Mars, which enters 0 degree on the 12th, stays in orb till the 21st. We're going to be entering into a little bit of a tense time. Like Mercury sextile Mars, it gives quick thinking, it gives problem solving, but it's high strung, it's anxious. So we're going into a time that favors actions and reflexes. And in the middle of this high strung period, where the energies of Sirius, the scorcher, that always gives too much, more than anyone can handle, to Ceres via the square. Venus, Jupiter are conjunct. Venus, Jupiter are square to Ceres. This could really throw the collective feelings. It could bring too much. Right about this time, there could be a lot going on, way too much. And we hit the waning quarter moon on the 16th in the middle of this period of high tension. All right, here's the waning quarter moon. And we see Mars still in orb of Grand Trine, still in orb of this kite. I'll leave this up for a while just so you can get it. Pause if you need to and take it all in. Going back to the waning transits. And that was the 16th of August that we just looked at. So let's move on. On the 18th, the sun trines Eris, and it could lean towards tense, disruptive activities. Eris is a difficult teacher. She's ruthlessly honest, and most people aren't ready for that. My take on working with Eris is you get out of it what you put into it, but it's always work. She asks work. She asks effort and endeavor. She can even make things harder to, just add intrigue and interest to situations. She's a very hard teacher, but when you work with Eris as wisdom force in the world, you go right to the heart of what it is that no one wants to talk about, no one wants to deal with. Right there, right to the heart of what we're hiding from ourselves, what we're afraid to admit about ourselves collectively as humanity or individually as a person. And we're coming down the stretch. It looks like we're approaching next new moon on the 23rd. And what we have is Venus square to Eris. She sextiled Eris at the beginning of the lunar cycle, moving fast this month. Venus now squares Eris. And these squares in general, we have Jupiter Ceres, Venus Eris, and Sun Uranus. They are going to really mark, kind of define the next new moon. They these last two, Jupiter Ceres and Sun Uranus, actually don't go exact until after the next new moon. So this Venus square to Eris is really the last aspect of this cycle. So with that, I'd like to switch lanes, show you the next new moon chart. All right, and here's the new moon, 23rd of August. We're in the sort of the future machine. This is what the whole thing winds down toward. We've been looking at Cancer season, and early Leo season. And the new moon, 23rd August 2025, will take place right on fixed star Regulus. Very powerful. Yeah, there's a lot happening. We're square to Uranus. We're relating to all the outer planets, and again, none of the inner planets. So deep processes, deep, powerful, chthonic, potentially aggressive processes, big energy, close alignments, and you know, this month could be a really challenging month. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. It could be a before and after month in world history. There could be the kinds of events this month, especially around war and aggression, that just there's no going back from them. They'll move things forward irrevocably. Thank you for staying this far. Like, subscribe. You've heard all that before. Do all the YouTube things. You can even comment, share the video. You know what to do. Some awesome events coming up. We have September 27th, 2025. That'll be the very first annual Sidereal Astrology Conference of ISAA. International Sidereal Astrology Association 2025, first annual Sidereal Astrology Conference. Ooh, exciting. Elsewhere, I would like to invite everybody, if you use the Facebook platform, come see us on Radical Astrology. And that's just a community, an info hub, a beacon in the tropical darkness. No, we love everyone, but we keep it oriented to how things really are in the actual sky. And speaking of that, there's always my own website where you can go to learn more about true sidereal and evolutionary astrology. Those are the two major focuses within my own study. And I would call what I do, my personal work with clients and people, I would call it constellational and evolutionary. So if that interests you, come learn more. It's fascinating stuff. And, I like people. So send me an email or visit my site or leave a comment in here. If you like this video, if these videos do you any good, let me know. Yeah. So with that in mind, I'm going to sign off. Thank you, as always. Again, much love, and see you next time.